What did the popular kid at your school do to go from cool to an absolute outcast? Semi-popular, kinda preppy kid tried to kill his parents by pouring vodka around their bed at night and setting it on fire because they took his CDs away. Tried is the key word here. Liquor doesn't burn that well. Pulled out a knife and slashed another student. Kid with a knife went to outcast status. Kid that got slashed became super cool and had a scar. Everyone wanted to see it. I can link to an article about the stabbing if anyone's interested. So your school had a knife incident and their response was to bang phones. The phones who had the evidence were to blame, but not the knife or the lack of security in school. Sounds like school. There was a girl that was the popular girl in school. She had all the friends and even put out an album. She was a total star locally. One day we were taking standardized tests and she runs out of the room and doesn't return. When we left the class there was green diarrhea all over the floor just down the hall from the classroom. Poor girl didn't make it to the bathroom in time. She didn't return to school that school year and moved to another town/school completely after that. She married a famous NFL player and is one of these Instagram PPL now, so she bounced back from a shitty situation pretty well. PLS tell me she dating a Green Bay Packer? That was rookie year. He's with the Browns now. Guy got accused of rape at a party and nobody believed the girl, and people spread vicious rumors about her and sided with him. The whole thing seemed like everyone viewed him as a victim, and he played himself up that way, until a few months later, another girl said she had been raped by him at a party, and multiple other people at the party saw her hysterically crying and bruised afterwards. There were not so many people supporting him after that. I got away with it once. I'm sure I can do it again. Hope the girls are okay. That's horrible to hear. He got drunk and finger banged a sheep at an outdoor party. He spent the next 3 years as the sheep fucker. You build hundreds of bridges throughout your life, and nobody calls you a bridge builder, but you fuck one goat. Graduated high school. He turned into that 30-year-old dude that still hasn't gotten over high school. We had a friend who was like that. We all realized we grew apart when he tries to sack tap everyone at the BBQ and still trying to do the party boy gimmick from Jackass. Crack. He and his couple friends started smoking crack senior year of high school. They got quarantined to themselves. Ran into one of them a couple weeks ago. He kept trying to get me back to their apartment to do meth. Well, at least he's off the crack. He upgrades to Crack Plus. The iCrack S Plus. Wholesome for once, I guess. All popular kids in my school were complete dickheads that bullied others. This fella, king of the hill, starts dating a girl from another school that was friends with one of the bullied kids. The kid told the girl what her boyfriend does in THT school, so the girl threatened to break up with him if he didn't change his ways. He stopped socializing with the cool folks and started getting bullied by them, and none of the other kids wanted to warm up to him. He was a loner at school, but he made his GF happy, and he was happy. That makes me happy. He stood for what mattered most to him, and it made him a better man. Accidentally left a video of himself sticking stuff up his ass on a phone that he sold to another student. I never saw him again after that. Plot twist, he was just trying to hook a brother up and it backfired. He was popular because he was a rebel that talked back to teachers and insulted them openly. He became an outcast because he made the teacher everyone loved cry. I had a guy in my class do this recently. Nobody really talks to him anymore. Rule 1 of school. Don't fuck with the cool teachers. Killed an infant in a car accident. Completely shut down during senior year. Wouldn't talk to anybody anymore. I had a cousin who died as a very small child because she walked out from behind 2 parked cars into the street out front of a church. A young man was driving to church and accidentally killed her. He never drove again. Ruined his whole life. Poor guy. I remember in middle school the popular kid asked out the most unpopular girl and then embarrassed her in front of everybody by breaking up with her and laughing in her face about how she could think it was real. It was really sad, and I remember her being really into high school TV shows, and I think she really wanted to be popular. Like she hoped life would be like a Disney show or something. IDK what happened to him, but I remember everyone kind of being like dude, and he moved a bit later. In high school the popular kids weren't necessarily bullies. They weren't super welcoming into their circle to invite everyone to parties and stuff, but they weren't total bullies, at least that I know of. They were just good at sports and attractive pretty much. That happened in our school too, except the popular guy kept being popular. I hated him after that incident. And I felt so bad for the girl. Like everyone felt bad for the girl. But I was one of maybe 5 people who then felt angry towards the guy. Everyone else just let it go, as if he wasn't the reason we all felt bad for the girl. It's been nearly 20 years since that happened, and that's still what I think about when I see him. Got hit by a train. Everyone cared about him until he got out of the hospital and wasn't the same mentally from head trauma. All the other popular kids mock him and have him locked on social media to this day. That's messed up. Got an 8th grade girl pregnant while he was a junior in high school. He eventually transferred out because everyone hated him so much. For those not in America, that's at least a 4-year age gap. 17-year-old knocking up a 13-year-old. No jail, or at least juvie. Well, everyone else grew up. He didn't, and doesn't seem to want to. Now it's everyone else's fault 10 years later. Most popular kid in my middle school was this big Samoan dude. Looked like he was 13 going on 25 years old. I remember he gained a lot of popularity when he serenaded this girl in class to ask her to the dance. He had music playing on his iPhone, and he started belting out love songs while on bended knee. Later on that year he went from hero to zero when we found out he'd been molesting his sister. 0 to 100 real fucking quick. He got drunk and killed the family of 4 in a car accident. That's so dark. Well, the popular girl at my school tried to ruin the life of a really sweet girl because of boyfriend drama. When she realized people were standing up for the sweet girl instead, she lost her mind, accusing the other girl and her boyfriend of property damage, turning on anyone who didn't swear loyalty to her, turning people against one another, screaming at teachers. It was a mess. The nail in the coffin was when she confided to me and to others that she was planning to put laxatives in the pastry she baked for the class. Obviously I let people know, and she became completely ostracized. She left at the end of junior year, and senior year was the most chill year ever. I don't blame you for letting people know. You can't let that shit slide. Unbelievable smooth comment. Cool twin brothers from my HS drove home intoxicated from a football game. Crossed a double yellow and smashed head on into a car coming in the opposite direction, killing the other 2 occupants almost instantly. The brother not driving was severely injured and is currently still slightly mentally disabled. The brother driving came away with relatively minor injuries. Somehow he got away with no charges filed, probably on account of his lawyer father. He was also on one of our more successful teams, so when he returned to school a couple of weeks later they announced it during a school assembly, basically celebrating his return and congratulating him on a speedy recovery. Some of his friends started applauding, but pretty much everyone else ostracized him from that point on, given the fact that he killed 2 people, and yes, he still is and was a piece of shit. I don't get why, in accident stories like this, the drunk driver almost always survives, and it's always random people who get killed. It's so fucking unfair. I've heard it's because most drunk drivers are more mellowed out, like a sleeping passenger, and since their body doesn't react/tense up as much, they absorb more impact. Not sure how true that is though. That's a part of it, but the driver's seat is usually the safest seat in the car. You also instinctively steer away, protecting yourself first. This is why it's recommended that, if you have 1 child in the vehicle, they should sit directly behind your seat. If you have 2 or more children, you put the one you like the most behind you. She tried to manipulate all her friends and pit them against each other with a bunch of catty lies. Well, that in combination with wearing her pageant sash and crown to school for like a week. All girls school. Was your friend Iago by any chance? The parrot from Aladdin? Lol, no, the bad dude from Othello. Sent his girlfriend's naked pics to the whole school. Wow, what a scumbag. The worst part of it was the excuse he gave. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to send it to everyone. Just a couple guys from the basketball team. He ended up switching schools. Yeah, still illegal dumbus. And a dick move. Graduated. Turns out, some learned the hard way that adulthood is not the same as high school. That's blunt and true. This kid in middle school used to talk shit to everyone. He had nice stuff his parents got him and everyone thought he was tough and could fight until one day he started on a special needs kid. Nobody had ever actually seen the popular kid fight. He just was excellent at intimidation. Now a lot of the special needs kids in my area weren't just students who were mentally challenged, but had overall learning disabilities. Many of those kids came from very tough homes, and the special needs kid who the popular kid messed with was an absolute savage. He grew up in a pretty tough part of town, but was really a gentle giant. He could play football. He was muscular. He could do everything the regular students could do except speak properly. A minor speech impediment. The popular kid challenged him to a one-on-one fight, and got his ass kicked by the special needs kid. I'm talking blood everywhere. His clothes got ripped. One of his sneakers landed like 10 feet away. And to top it all off, he even tried running away after the first few punches. The special needs kid grabbed him and pulled him back. It was a massacre. The popular kid not only lost all of his influence, but didn't even have the guts to come back to school for like a week. If I ever saw instant karma, it would have had to have been on this day, because he was quiet as a mouse the rest of the years through high school. A lot of the special needs kids in my elementary to high school were pretty regular, they just had anger problems. So everyone knew not to say anything to offhand. My boyfriend in junior high school told one of the special needs kids his breath was stale, and he got his head busted open on the side of the building. I was friends W, one of the girls in special edition. When she found out her BF was cheating, she knocked the other girl out with one punch, and kept going. It was brutal. She was beautiful and smart. Just easily provoked. Neither of them got suspended though. There was a popular cheerleader at my school that was in a bad car wreck and she suffered severe brain damage. The day she came back, some of her friends, aka the popular kids, sat with her at lunch. Every day after that though, they sat on the other side of the cafeteria in their normal spot, and she was with the other special needs students. They would walk past her without saying a word. As far as everyone knew, her entire group of friends completely abandoned her. I don't think she missed them though. So silver lining, she seemed to be very happy most of the time after the accident. Not so much before. This was in the mid-late 80s, and every teen movie with a bunch of shitty preppies pretty much accurately depicts the popular kids in my HS. Exact same happened in my class. She had a shitty boyfriend who she wanted to break up with because he was mean to her, but he died in the accident, so all she remembered was how great he was because of her mental issues after the accident. Killed 2 university students while drunk driving, and then complained because she wouldn't be able to go to the bar and get drunk on her 18th birthday. How shallow and narcissistic do you have to be to pull this shit? Fucking hell. There's someone further up who killed a kid entirely by accident and went into self-imposed isolation because of the guilt. He hooked up with 2 of his friends' girlfriends. They ditched him after that. Best answer to this happens between elementary and middle school. Our elementary was small, and we fed into a middle school with a much bigger school. Think 20% us, and 80% them. Most popular kids showed up on the first day, after only knowing what it's like to be the coolest kid in the small school, and tried to start shit with some random kid, who was with 11 of his friends, to show how cool and top dog he was to everyone, I guess. Yeah, those 12 guys beat him up, and then made fun of him for years. He wasn't cool anymore. Just that fast. By high school nobody cared anymore. But he was never really popular again. This sounds like how every Inside Prison documentary goes down. Our star football player lost his full-ride football scholarship to LSU after beating his girlfriend into a coma. It's been like 8 years. But if memory serves correctly, he didn't end up going to prison or juvie because they lack sufficient evidence. He eventually got expelled from our school because it had a zero-tolerance policy for fighting, and one of his girlfriend's friends called him out for beating her while in the hallway. He didn't like being confronted and tried to beat the shit out of the guy calling him out. Stop calling me a violent abuser, or I'll kick your ass. My school doesn't really have popular people. Everyone just kinda has their friends. Some people have more than others, but it's not like a social hierarchy. However, this one girl did something that rightfully destroyed her reputation. So basically this girl that was pretty well liked asked out this boy that no one ever expected her to ask out. It was unexpected because he was less well known, but in general everyone liked him. They had a cute relationship for about 2 months. He started sitting with her friends at lunch and was becoming closer with them. Well, one of the girl's friends found out she was cheating on him. She told the boy and her friends, and he was really upset about it. When the girl found out people knew the truth, she said she was only dating him for answers on homework and that she never actually liked him. Once it got around, no one really looked at her the same. She tried to talk shit about him and the friend that exposed her a few times, but she was either ignored or totally shut down. This year she's not at our school and no one misses her. There was a guy that was pretty popular. He got really drunk at a party and totally didn't know where he was. He pulled down his pants, squatted and totally started to poop. He moved away immediately. He was a senior and I was in 8th grade. That was well over 25 years ago. Well, he friended me on Facebook a couple months ago and I kinda recognized him. I racked my brain and it came to me, the guy who pooped at the party. Poor guy. I mean, is nobody else going to say it? No? Alright. Jeez. What a party pooper. Every party needs a pooper, that's why we invited him.